When was the last time you looked in the mirror and felt like you were enough?
I think that people should see that side of TV personalities or people in Hollywood. These people are rich in Hollywood. They have access to every single thing they can do to their skin. And it's not like I'm saying I haven't done stuff either, but I just feel like when people go on there fully done up, filters, it's like, that's not real life.
What would it feel like to have your looks scrutinized by millions of people as part of your job? What does it mean when society's standards for beauty become the standard for success? And what happens when you rebel? On this episode of The News and You, a story that might just change the way you see yourself and others. I speak with Emmy Award-winning Fox News anchor Bianca Peters, a woman who's faced the pressure, made her own choices, and is reshaping the conversation around beauty, Botox, and broadcasting. She's sharing what it really takes to hold on to your voice when the world wants to change your face. I'm Eleisha Foon, journalist, storyteller, and I've learned everyone you walk past has a story, and that story could change your life. So let's crack it open to discover The News and You. In the cutthroat world of television news, appearance isn't just part of the job. For some, it can feel like the job. From flawless hair to wrinkle-free skin, women especially have faced pressure to live up to impossible ideals. Bianca Peters knows that pressure all too well. There's a silent contract written into broadcast journalism. Look the part or lose your seat. Bianca first stepped into the public eye competing in beauty pageants and later entered the world of sports broadcasting before landing her role at Fox News. Despite her success, she felt firsthand the burden of constantly being camera ready, even when it came at a personal cost. Bianca is living proof of what it looks like to fake it until you make it. But let's start with the first time she felt the pressure of being under a microscope, where her looks were being judged. And what did she do to stand out?
A friend that was working for the pageant director that I had met in high school, she was like, hey, you should sign up for this pageant. If you win, you can get $30,000. And I said, what? I was so poor. I was like, hold on, $30,000. I was like, that sounds amazing. Let me sign up. You had to have like an entry fee, $500 or something like that. And I couldn't pay for that. So the company that I was working for, I was like doing some marketing stuff for them. It was like a swimwear company. They said, hey, can we be the sponsor for the whole swim portion of the competition? So they paid for my entrance fee. It's wild. Khloe Kardashian was a judge. Ludacris was a judge. This competition was held at Cher's mansion in Malibu. The day of the competition, it was interesting. They did like a one round of talking to all the girls and interview with a bunch of the judges. And I'm pretty sure I know how I ended up in at least the top 5. Because at that point, I had just come back from doing a missions trip in South Africa. And I think for when you talk to most girls, whether it be in Southern California, they're not doing that. I loved it. I did not want to come back to America because I was over there volunteering at an AIDS orphanage. So I talked about that. I talked about like my family, but then I saw all the other girls, tight bandage dresses, heels. They probably saw me walk in. Khloe Kardashian's like, look at this girl in her sweater. I was not prepared for that. So just go in and be like, all right, well, just get to know me. That's it. And I wore my prom dress for the gown competition. I really wasn't going to invite anyone to that Miss Malibu competition because I was like, I don't think I'm going to get very far. Like I would love to win $30,000, but now that I've seen all the other girls and I'd met them a couple days before, I was like, oh God, what did I do? I was living with my grandma at the time. So she came. My parents, they came because I told them last minute. And then I had like a friend from high school show up as well. So then they go, top 15, and they call my name. And I was like, oh, dang, okay. Top 10. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it got to top 5. It was kind of surreal. And I knew when they were like, okay, we're going to ask you the questions. I was like, I got this. I was great at speaking to people. I think my question was something about social media. Something about social media, and was it good or not? I did have some opinions on social media at the time. The girl that was the top 2, when it came to the top 2, is me and this 6-foot-tall blonde Barbie girl from Malibu. Meanwhile, she's from there. I'm living in Pico Rivera. That's pretty much almost the ghetto. It was heartfelt, and I was just being honest. And somehow, I don't know how the heck I won that thing.
But being crowned Miss Malibu meant she was an automatic qualifier for Miss California. It was a bigger pageant where she would soon discover a darker side to extreme beauty standards, as she was put under even more pressure to look picture perfect.
After winning Malibu, that's when it was... that was way more pressure, because then you're seeing this world, and I don't think I will ever, no offense to people who do pageants, but I don't think I will ever if I have a daughter, go through that. Because then you're like looking at yourself, you're comparing yourself to all these other women. And there was some stuff that happened behind the scenes when some girls didn't make top 10. I think I made top 10, Miss California. Behind the scenes, a girl like throwing her shoe at the mirror, upset, being like, yes, I'm gonna call my lawyer. I'm like, okay, like, I don't know what he's gonna do for you. But it's way more, all the focus goes like, what do I look like? How do I compare to these other women? And I hope that the girls, when you hear them talk about the pageants and stuff, I hope they're telling the truth now. It's not about that. It's about community. It's about camaraderie. Like, I don't know. That's not what I experienced.
Like many women, both in and out of the industry, Bianca was faced with a decision to fight the standards, conform, or choose to do it on her own terms.
My story into broadcasting is a little interesting because it was an unlikely path. I did not go to school. I didn't study journalism. I was looking at research and communication. I was always more interested in psychology, and got a boyfriend, did the thing where you live together after college. And I was like, this didn't work out. And I had to go move back to my parents. And I was like, I need a job. I need a 401k. I have to be an adult. And I didn't know where to begin. And I didn't know how to start back into, should I start into marketing? But I remember watching TV and seeing people on the news. And I was like, I could do that. I think I can do that. Maybe it's just this blind confidence that sometimes, very few times I have. I'm like, yeah, I could do it. And I made a fake newsreel. I had my brother create a fake newsreel. He was in high school. He had like a little digicam. We went in front of the local movie theater on like a Saturday. And I remember saying like, we are reporting live in front of the Korean theater where there's been a SARS outbreak. Just totally make this stuff up. Because that's what people learn when they go to journalism school. They get to practice and do those things. I just didn't. But I did that for a little bit, sent it out to a whole lot of people. And a lot of people said no. But 2 stations said yes. They're like, we'll hire you to be our anchor and reporter. And I was like, what? You're gonna hire me? So my first job was in Medford. I did some like hosting stuff here and there. So I wasn't like totally unaware of what I was doing, but getting into the news industry, no, it does not compare. It does not compare if like you trying to talk about sports or hosting stuff. It's a completely different animal. And when I got in, this is TV news stuff lingo. They're like, okay, welcome. Now we need you to do a VOS on this, a package on that. Make sure you do a VO on this. And I was like, oh, I don't even know what language you're speaking. Yeah, that sounds good. And I had a friend that was a news anchor at the time. He is actually one of the biggest faces on Fox right now. He is so incredible. He's so talented. I believe in him so much. And he's the reason where I'm at right now. But I reached out to him. He was in a smaller station in El Paso. I was like, Bill, I don't know what is the VOS? What's a VO? And for 2 weeks, every time they would send me on an assignment to do something, he showed me the structure of how to write a story, how to make it more interesting. He sent me a book. Everything that you learn in college, I learned in 2 weeks. Reading the prompter and learning how to be natural on camera, that is something I think you really either have or you don't, or you can really work at it and get good at it. But everything else, like, you can figure that out along the way.
She talks about the deeper cost of living in a culture obsessed with perfection, and she's exposing the industry by pulling back the curtain and being real about what it takes to achieve perceived perfection. Over 7 million Botox procedures were performed in 2022, and over 90% were done on women. The most common facial cosmetic surgery for women include facelifts, eyelid surgeries, nose reshaping, also known as rhinoplasty. She's not afraid to get real about the dozens of procedures she's had to her face, and it all started with her decision to get preventative Botox, not because she felt less beautiful, but because she wanted to own the choice before society made it for her, and because it was free.
One of my girlfriends from high school, I was 27, it's been years out of high school, she was working at a med spa, and she was like, come in, I'll give you Botox in exchange for a photo. I said, girl, yes, I'm there. Probably did it like once a year after that. It's like $1,200 if you want to get Botox in your crow's feet, your forehead, anywhere else. It is so expensive here. It's so expensive in New York City. And you know, I understand why. People that have places here in Manhattan, they're paying skyrocket rents. So they got to charge more for that stuff. So yeah, 27 Botox, kept on doing it. I got a little scared from doing it one time because I immediately had a bad reaction to it, which I don't understand. I mean, I've done it for 10 years. And I heard this thing called some people get it, like a Botox flu. And boy, was I sick for 2 days almost. And I haven't done it since. I'm on the fence with it. I but I have to say, I think I look better now than I did when I was 22.
And in the US, it's estimated that 1 in 5 women aged 30 to 60 has tried Botox at least once. But not everyone is willing to own up to it.
I feel really proud that I'm all natural. I've stayed out of the sun. I've never done any Botox, injectables, no surgery, nothing. My mom told me, like, when I was 8 years old, Paris, stay out of the sun. And then she taught me this amazing, 10-step skincare routine. So I've literally been doing that since I'm 8.
I would never peddle this. I just, wear great sunscreen and drink lots of water. Either say nothing at all or don't lie to people. Or you can show, hey, and I'm not saying you have to show every single thing you do, but at least I'm saying, hey, these are the things I'm doing. Like, there's not to normalize doing that, but to normalize looking on TV or looking on social media and being like, oh, that's not just olive oil and good sleep, and that's not why she just looks like that. Because I wish people were more real on social media. Looking through Instagram, and I have completely unfollowed a lot of bloggers, influencers, because when I start to feel less than, or why don't I have what they have, unfollow. Because, it's very easy to go down that path of being like, why doesn't my face look like theirs? Everyone's doing something. Because it's not transparent, it's like, how do they look like that? And then yet, I'd just rather be a little bit more open about it.
In a world ruled by filtered faces and perfect angles, comparison isn't just a habit. It's a quiet thief, stealing confidence, one scroll at a time. The pressure to look a certain way, to be a certain kind of beautiful, creeps in through every screen, whispering that who you are is somehow not enough. Unlike many women in Hollywood who credit their youthful appearance to a skincare routine or diet, Bianca is straight up about the procedures she's had.
Doing procedures, you want to go to someone that you trust and that their work is natural. I've dissolved my lips before, gotten them filled, gotten them dissolved. What else? Filler, threads, lasers. I've tried those things they put in your abs and it makes you do 5,000 crunches. It felt so crazy. Threads, painful. Oh my God. But it does make a difference. They put this thread into your skin, and the thread has these little barbs on it. They pull the needle out, the thread is in there, and the barbs face up. So when they pull the thread, it's grabbing onto the tissue, I guess. It only lasts 6 months, and it's pretty painful. Threads is crazy. Multiple different kinds of lasers, fillers, which I have had to get dissolved. you start messing around with that stuff and you're not really going to someone you trust. Like, I tried to do it under my eyes once, and I remember like smiling, and it was like, even to dissolve these things, it costs like $250.
Girls today are growing up under more pressure than ever before. A relentless stream of filters and surgically altered faces setting the standard for how they think they need to look. How could that not seep into our subconscious and chip away at our self-esteem? It's easy to fall into a trap of feeling like we're not enough. Women are made to believe they should look like a Photoshop version of perfection. And when your face becomes your brand, beauty starts to feel like everything because it's tied to your worth, your value, and in an age of influencers, your livelihood.
I fall in the trap of going through social media and being like, oh my God, why don't I look like that? Why doesn't my no makeup look like hers? Is she even wearing makeup? And then I feel like we're getting a little bit, a little bit smarter in terms of how we can tell when people are using filters or not, but I just can't stand it. I can't stand when people are on there selling makeup products, look at my skin beauty routine, but you're using a filter. It's not real. Like, that's why I'll be the first one to say, like, I'm over here using all the creams. I'm going to go get a Clear and Brilliant tomorrow to get this melasma off my face. But like, we have pores, we have lines. I have a lot of discoloration, and I'm trying to be a little bit more kind to myself. But all right, this is normal. This is what we're dealing with. So therefore, I will try to post more videos, not being fully done up. And now I'm okay with it. I don't care. The reason why I probably am okay with it now is because my teeth are not crooked. They were so jacked up. But yeah, I'll be honest, my teeth being straighter allowed me to be a little bit more whatever. I don't care. This is my face. There's lots of melasma on it. And I think that people should see that side of TV personalities or people in Hollywood. These people are rich in Hollywood. They have access to every single thing they can do to their skin. And it's not like I'm saying I haven't done stuff either, but I just feel like when people go on there fully done up, filters, it's like, that's not real life. When I first got to New York, I remember thinking, oh, all the girls have long hair. I'm going to rebel against this. And I cut my hair off. Like within the first 2 weeks of them hiring me, like chopped it off in the hair room there. I started cutting it with my scissors, and we had a hair lady at that time. We don't have hair and makeup anymore. But she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I need to cut it off. I don't want to fit in. But maybe that pressure, I'm feeling it more now than I ever have. And it's understandable because I'm older than I was when I first got in the business. And I think this is an issue for women in front of the camera. You're always going to have to compete against someone younger, hotter, that'll do the job for less money. And then these things like the lines and the wrinkles, like, I think it starts becoming a bigger stress. I'm sure I'm feeling that a little bit more now than I did ever in my career. But you do what you got to do. Like, it's not going to stop me from pursuing things, or I don't let it get in the way of like me being on camera and doing what I'm doing. But yeah, I think I'm feeling it more now than I ever have. Look, I've already started thinking like, dang, if I haven't been TV for another 10 years, it was probably facelift time. I don't know. But I always justify it because like the TV thing. Even when I was not on TV, I think I still worry about those things because social media is just so intense. You can think of the hottest girl in the world. Some of these influencers or models you're like, wow. But they're competing with all these other models, comparing themselves to these other women. So it's happening to women all across the board, no matter what you think you look like. Then it's age. Because once maybe you're the hottest girl, the hottest it girl in your 27, but as you get older, someone new is going to come up.
The pressures of TV broadcasting can be tough, grueling, and sometimes beauty and burnout can go hand in hand. There's a hierarchy, a rite of passage. You often have to prove yourself and work over time to show management you're better than the rest, worthy of the dream positions you're aspiring for. At one point in Bianca's career, she realized she'd pushed her body too far. Before the sun rose, Bianca was already performing, but while the world watched her shine, she was slowly burning out. Sometimes chasing the spotlight means losing sight of yourself until you're forced to pause and remember why you started.
I tried to quit twice, but I think a lot of it was due in part to, work environments and the hours that I worked, getting up at 2:30 for years to do 4:30 shows, and trying to go to bed at 6 p.m. and it never happens, and then throwing your body off on the weekends because you have a normal life. Like we know that's not healthy. Science has already told us, like, irregular sleep patterns, highly irregular sleep patterns, not good for you. I only lasted 1 year for my first job. I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle that schedule. I had an amazing co-anchor. I love her to death. I still love her. Her name's Taylor Ryan, but she was my saving grace in that whole thing. Also, I had a station manager. When I came to him after a year, I was like, Bob, and it's so difficult. You don't want to let people down. You don't want to quit. And I was like, Bob, I just want to let you know, like, I can't do this. I am so burnt out. I'm to the point where I've never dealt with depression, and this is what I'm going through. And he was like, that's okay. Totally understand. Wish you the best. Of course, I didn't complain to anyone that was going through that. But when I hit a breaking point, I went to him and I kind of told him. So then I was like, I quit. I can't do this anymore. The news is not for me. And I had a news agent who at the time did not want to sign me. I was trying to get an agent, which is like a thing you do. And he didn't want to sign me. He looked at my stuff. He's like, hit me up in a couple more years. You still need some work just to get better on TV. So he found out that I quit. This is the news industry, okay? This is why I got a little because he called me up when he found out I quit. And he goes, do not walk away from this industry. I'll sign you. I know I'll get you a job. I was like, what happened 2 weeks ago? You said I wasn't good enough. Now I'm good enough? I said, okay. I remember I was in Miami because I loved Miami. I just loved the warm weather. Celebrating that I quit the first job. And he calls me, he's like, no, don't quit. No, I'll get you a job. I'll get you a job here in Miami. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay, I would love to live here. That's why I took the job, went back to news. I said, let me give it another chance. And oh my God, that was rough too. But the hours, I remember, I think maybe I was there for 3 years. So maybe like the end of the second year, I had a roommate, love her. And I was getting up at 2:30, going to work. And I had a really toxic work environment there. I was stressed. Just the people that worked above you, there was a lot of lack of empathy. And sometimes you got to check in on people that are waking up that early in the morning just to be like, how are you doing? You okay? Like a new story every single day. No time for people's feelings, which actually I appreciate people at my work now. They care about that stuff. I was like, this thing that I'm feeling. I was like, I just want someone to hit me in their car. And I wanted to get put in the hospital for like 5 days. Just so I don't have to go to work. Just 5 days. Like, I don't want to die, but don't want to get that injured, but just keep me in the hospital like 5 days. And wanting that to happen, that is psychotic for a normal person to want to get out of their job so bad that they'd like to get hit by a car. I was so scared to call out sick. So scared. I still am. I don't like to do that, but I woke up in the middle of the night, like I couldn't breathe and I was like sweating. Profusely sweating, and I'm like yelling for my roommate, I don't know what's going on. And I thought I was having a heart attack, full blown. And I still went to work. She almost was like, let's go to urgent care. And I was like, no, I don't want to get in trouble. I was too scared to even call anyone and say like, I was not okay. And that sucks. That sucks to feel that way. So went to go see a cardiologist right after I got off work. And he basically was like, well, you have a slight heart issue. It's nothing crazy, but it can be exacerbated by stress. He's like, your hours, your sleep hours. He's like, you're going to die young. He told me you're going to die young if you keep doing this to yourself. And also gave me some antidepressants because after doing a scale of that, he was like, yeah, this is also an issue you're dealing with. It wasn't that big of a wake-up call because I still went right back to it. And I eventually did one more year. I remember telling the person I work for, I can't do this anymore. This is like not for me. These hours, like I'm ruining my body. I said I was going to go do social media management. And I think they thought it was a complete joke. Because at the time, this is like when social media was still taking off, but they thought it was a complete joke. And I only had $1,200 in my bank account, and that didn't work out too well. So I had like 5 jobs, odd jobs at the time. But you know what? I was so poor. I was so happy with my freedom, not having to wake up at 2:30, being healthy, going to bed at a normal time, running in the morning. I mean, I totally ruined it on the weekends in Miami, but at that time it was just, I was taking steps to being healthier. And some people can like handle it fine. Some people just can't. I don't think I was built for that. Did it for so many years. And I was like, no, I'm killing myself. For me, the bigger goal was to always make sure that I could financially take care of my parents if I needed to. So because that was the bigger goal, I guess doing the family thing and having kids, I think that just got put on the back burner. It would be hard to pursue making as much money as I can in this career when you're dealing with a lot of kids and family. And I know people die. Obviously we see people on TV that can have it all. But I was just like, I want to devote all my attention to making sure that I can provide for them. And I was trying to tell my dad, no, Dad, like I'm stressed. I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. And no blame on my dad whatsoever because he grew up in a tough household, abusive father, very abusive. Beat my grandmother as well. There was no room for him to not handle something tough. When I tried to explain to him, I was like, I can't do this. And he's like, when I went through law school, it was hard. It was really hard. There was nights where I'd like have mental breakdowns and cry, but like I got through it. Like you have to just get through it. That's not what I wanted to hear. I think he understood the second time around where I told him, I was trying to explain to him. And I didn't know what depression was and I didn't know how to explain it. But being able to say, I just want someone to hit me with their car so I can be in the hospital for a couple of days. I think that's when he was like, whoa, that's not right. Now you should step away from something that's causing you so much duress. If I'm at a point where I am so fulfilled in life, maybe it's family, maybe it's kids, I don't think I would care so much about what I look like. I think if I was doing projects, maybe not confined within the TV news realm, I don't think I would care so much. I think I would have to fully remove myself from traditional media, legacy media, to get to the point of being like, I'm aging gracefully, because you know what I'd be doing? I'd probably be in South America somewhere, building schools or helping women. And then that's when it's like, I think that stuff's more important.
There's a whole generation of girls buying into a billion-dollar industry which profits off women's insecurities. Social media influence and selfie culture, celebrity influencer endorsements, and anti-aging demand is driving women and girls to get aesthetic procedures. Overall, it's a market valued at over $125 billion US and is projected to reach over $200 billion by 2030. In a culture obsessed with youth, perfection, and image, Bianca's story reminds us that true beauty isn't something you inject, apply, or edit. It's something you reclaim. And that even the most beautiful people we admire on a runway or on screen are more likely than not also battling with insecurity.
You can't keep getting facelifts at 85. You're like, oh, hold on, my 5th one, let me do this. I think women are doing it so much younger ages now. I thought I was young starting at 27, but I can't imagine what girls at the age of 18, 19, 20 are feeling, and they're probably doing this. Hold off on this stuff until you're well out of college. Before you're 30, I'm totally okay with that, but hold off and like just focus on building something that's like lasting. Like there's a lot of stuff that I was too afraid to do before I went on TV. And so instead of being like, hold on, I need to get Botox at 18, 19, 20, explore some of these careers that you're like, that brings me joy. I know I'm a hustler at heart, but that's where I think I failed myself. I was too scared to go out there and really see what it would look like if I tried something else. So don't worry about the Botox. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I can't say don't do what I did, but, and I think a lot of times we forget scrolling through Instagram and social media. But yeah, beauty standards, rough because I feel like the Kardashians did a lot more damage than good to a whole generation of women. These young girls look at someone like Kylie Jenner, what she looked like when she was 17, and thought that that's what they needed to look like. It is wild. It is what it is, though. Like, you can't erase that now. They had such a chokehold on the beauty standards. I still think that they do. It's cyclical. I think 2 years ago, when I actually started hearing rumors about a drug injection that would make you lose weight, and I was like, what? What is that? What are people? And at the same time, I'm like, how did the Kardashians all get so skinny out of nowhere? Of course, they're not admitting it, and I'm assuming, but I think they're the ones who put Ozempic on the map. It's crazy. The losing weight, the skinny thing, I've seen a lot of people that, like, I don't hold myself above my girlfriends that are not on TV because I think it's just hard across the board.
When we peel back the curtain and speak openly about what's real and what's not, we offer girls the gift of clarity to choose for themselves, not from pressure, but from truth. The mirror may echo the world's gaze, but the quiet story you whisper to yourself, that's the one that holds the power. You are beautiful. You are worthy. And if you ever feel the weight of comparison pressing in, remember this: other women are not your competition. What you're measuring yourself against may be an illusion, a face shaped by filters, needles, or surgery. It's not real, but the choices you make are. Let your reflection be rooted in truth, not trends. The most powerful glow up is learning to accept and love yourself just as you are. Thank you for listening to The News in You. Your support means the world, so please sign up to the Patreon for exclusive access. If this story touched you or made you think differently about the world we live in, would you consider sharing the love by giving The News in You a rating and review? And I encourage you to share this episode with someone who needs a reminder that their worth isn't measured by appearances. I'd love to hear, what are your key takeaways? Until next time, remember, your story matters, and there's a shared truth behind everything.